Today I want to talk to you about all the hype there is about vegetable oils, especially in social media. I mean, these two words, vegetable oils, are being villainized as unhealthy, as dangerous, as toxic food. When I mention just a vegetable oil in my recipe, people interpret vegetable oil to almost a poison in our bodies. So what I'd like to do is clear up some of this information and realize that not all vegetable oils causes every disease under the sun. So let's find out a little bit more about each specific oil and fat. So when you come to think of vegetable oils, what you normally think of are ones like canola, soybean, corn oil, sunflower, grapeseed, safflower, and just generic vegetable oil. And they're all promoted as heart healthy versus butter, lard, or hard margarines. Here's the thing, they all have more what's called polyunsaturated fats rather than monounsaturated fats like extra virgin olive oil, which is much healthier for you. And polyunsaturated fats are susceptible to oxidation and they deteriorate faster, and this is what leads to harmful compounds, which then research has shown can lead to certain diseases. Now, these oils tend to be bleached, refined, heated, and then they're extracted from their original source using a chemical solvent that can be used in cleaning agents and stain removals. Yuck. So these oils contain high amounts of omega-6 fatty acids versus omega-3 fatty acids that are found in things like nuts and salmon and flaxseed, which is really heart healthy. And when these oils are heated beyond their smoke point, that's where if they're heated above a certain temperature, they'll start to burn. What happens is new compounds are produced from the omega-6 fatty acids, and that's what can lead to disease, such as heart disease, cancer, arthritis, stroke, and diabetes. So here's the thing, what you want to do in your diet is balance the omega-6s and the omega-3s. The problem with our eating in general is that we eat a lot of processed food. Guess what? The processed foods use all the cheaper oils, and we are getting a ratio of almost 10 times the amount of omega-6s to 1 of omega-3s, where it should not be that high a ratio. It should be 1 to 1 or 2 to 1. So really, is it these oils in your home cooking that's causing the problems, or is it the processed fast food? That's something we have to ask ourselves. So when you're using these oils, let's say in your home, and you're watching the temperature, you're not letting it get too high and you're not frying for long periods of time, you're fine with these small amounts. It really, again, is the processed fast food where you're going to be concerned because these places are not treating the oils well. There's also salt, sugar added to these fats, which make it a really harmful ingredient. So the most important thing is the smoking or burning point, because the oil starts to break down at too high a temperature. It loses the nutritive value, and that's when it produces harmful chemicals. And when you're at home, one of the key things to do is heat your pan first, then add the oil to prevent overheating the oil. So what's the answer then if you don't want to use those oils and you're that concerned? So what you have to do is you have to go to cold pressed or unrefined oils. They're much healthier. So some examples that I like are avocado oil or good quality, whichever brand you want, of extra virgin olive oil. This is where they take the fruits, the seeds, they apply pressure to the plant to extract the oil, and there's no heating, there's no bleaching, there's no chemical solvents. And that's really what you want to use. But remember, you can't get everything for nothing. They're going to cost you more money, but they're definitely healthier. So when we talk about extra virgin olive oil, the king of the jungle, this is heart healthy. And remember, it's cold pressed. There's no heat added to it to extract the oils. So it tends to be higher in nutrition. Claims is that it can manage diabetes type 2, protect against some certain cancers, adds years to your life, is with the Mediterranean diet, heart healthy. It does have a lower smoking point, so it's great to use for sauteing or roasting at lower temperatures. And it's pretty stable once it's heated. I love to use it for salads. I like to use it in any of my sauces, and even I'll saute with it as long as I keep it to a lower temperature. Now, avocado oil, no matter what size you buy it in, again, you want to be careful when you're buying these better oils. If it's really, really inexpensive, read the label. It might be mixed with some other oils that are not as good for you. Avocado oil has a high smoke point, and it's the highest level of monounsaturated fats of all oils. Very nice, mild flavor. Again, you can use it for frying, roasting, and baked goods. I love using it in my cakes, in my muffins, even my cookies. So either sunflower or safflower oil, which is common in the supermarkets, consists mostly of polyunsaturated fats, but it does degrade as it's being heated. So what you want to do is look for versions with oleic in it, O-L-E-I-C, the compound, because it's more stable to heat for frying, searing, and making those delicious grilled cheese sandwiches. Now, peanut oil has one of the highest amounts of monounsaturated oil, so that's a good thing. High heat cooking, it's great for, but it is mostly refined, so you can tend to use it for roasting or searing. So now we'll talk about canola oil, and this has really been vilified. Now, it's made from rapeseed, so the minute somebody hears rapeseed, they associate that with the automotive industry because that's where rapeseed is used, but it's also used in the culinary field, and it's not the same product. Now, canola oil does have a really high smoke point. It's very, very inexpensive. You can use it for any type of cooking, frying. The downside of it is that it is genetically modified, GMO. You can buy non-GMO today if you want, and it's very, very refined and processed. So it may be an oil you don't want to be using on a daily basis, but again, look for one that is unrefined if you can, or even cold pressed. So vegetable oil. So what the heck is vegetable oil? We've listed all these other oils. Well, it's either a combination of soybean oil and canola oil, or it can be a mixture of many other seed oils. So you want to read the labels. It is mostly polyunsaturated fat, but it's loaded with omega-6s, which we said are healthy for you, but not in the number that they represent themselves in these oils. There are way too many omega-6s compared to omega-3s. Good thing about a vegetable oil, high smoke point. So you're gonna find it in processed foods and fast foods, restaurant food, but the oil breaks down over time, and the high heat ends up killing a lot of the natural vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. It is inexpensive though. Coconut oil, it's pretty solid, almost like a butter or a margarine in consistency. This was really hyped up a few years ago, and it was really, I think overblown, because in the end they said it was so healthy for you. Consider the fact that it's 90% saturated fat. Okay, it comes from the coconut, right? But it has something called medium chain triglycerides, which do have health benefits. They say that it doesn't clog your arteries the way another solid fat might, but the research has not been proven about that. Whenever you hear 90% saturated fat, I'd always be concerned. Studies show it can raise the good cholesterol, and it can also raise the bad cholesterol. So it's something that, if heart disease is in your family, you may not want to play around with, but using it again in small amounts is fine. It's pretty stable when it's heated, but again, I don't think it's a be-all and the end-all. So sesame oil, naturally made from sesame seeds, contains both poly and monounsaturated fats. You can buy toasted sesame oil or pure sesame oil. I like the pure sesame oil because it ends up having a higher smoke point than the toasted, so that's better for cooking for sure. I basically use it in salad dressings or for stir frying. So what about good old butter? People will notice that I use mostly good quality oils in my baking and cooking, and that's just because there's been a lot of heart disease in my family, and I'm always concerned about saturated fats, but there's nothing more natural than using butter. It does have a very low smoke point, so in other words, you can't use it for high heat cooking, but if you want really that buttery flavor in your cookies and your cakes, you know, it's a must. But again, be careful of the amounts you have due to the saturated fat. So what about lard? Lard clogs my arteries just thinking about it. I don't use lard. I don't make pie crust from scratch. Remember that it has half the amount of saturated fat than butter, but it's got double the saturated fat than extra virgin olive oil. Now, lard does have a very high smoke point, which is why it's great for frying and high heat cooking. And finally, what about margarines? Now, my favorite margarine has always been Becel. It's a tub margarine. It's got a lower amount of saturated fat, but it has a low smoking point. If you want a higher smoking point, then you're going to use the stick margarines, but those aren't very good for you because they're more saturated fat. So if you want to avoid butter and you don't want to use other oils, a good soft tub margarine is probably your best bet. One thing I haven't talked about are oils that shouldn't be used for high heat cooking. So these are more the fancier oils. I didn't bring them here to show you because there's so many, but one of them would be flaxseed oil, walnut oil, pistachio oil, hemp seed oil, or pumpkin seed oil. And these are not so common to find in your supermarkets, but those are the oils you want to use pure and just for a salad or a drizzle, even over some fresh strawberries, but not for high heat cooking. So let's take a little summary. Are seed oils really that dangerous? And is it that they're dangerous in your home cooking, or is it more on how they're used outside of your home that makes them dangerous? I personally think it's because of the fast food, ultra-processed food, restaurant food that you're eating where you're not sure what they're doing with the oils and they're cooking them at high temperatures for long periods of time. In processed foods, just add back the fat and the sugar plus a seed oil and you can have a toxic food. If you use these seed oils in moderation in your home, and don't cook for long periods of time, don't cook at the highest temperatures, you're pretty safe for using them in moderation. The best ones are going to be the extra virgin olive oil, the avocado oil, as both are not as processed. And when you buy any of the seed oils, they're always refined, which means they've been put through a very long process of bleaching, heating, extracting the oil from the seeds, which change the compounds. So you have a choice. You can pay a little more and go for unrefined oils, which are much healthier for you, or go for the cold pressed oils such as extra virgin olive oil. The other thing is don't cook above the smoking point because that's going to damage the compounds and get rid of some of the good nutrition. And also one thing to keep in mind is storing oils. So the seed oils, because they're so processed, can stay in your pantry for a long time. When you have a more unrefined oil, like an extra virgin olive oil, or a walnut oil or a pumpkin seed oil, you'd like to keep those refrigerated so they don't go rancid. So if you have any questions, please bombard me with your thoughts and concerns about seed oils today and other fats.